Hey guys, another video, this time looking at one of my favourite compositions. I know I've got a lot of favourites, but in my eyes, this has been like the go-to composition for me if I've ever wanted to just climb ranks. Because a lot of what I do in ranked right now is testing builds. I don't like testing builds in casuals because I don't think it's a fair playing field, and I'd rather play King 3/Queen games testing builds to see if they're actually good, rather than just going into a casual and playing whatever the hell I want and it working and then me telling you that it's good. So if I ever want to climb ranks, this is like my go-to build. Especially right now, as it's not exactly contested with everybody going for Dragon Mages. I think Glacier Knights is one of the most consistent comps in the game. A lot of you will be looking at this and saying, okay, Frost Knight, Desperate Doctor, Fortune Teller, Hell Knight, Evil Knight, Soul Reaper, and Lightblade Knight, I get that. Why the Defector over the Berserker? I like Defector over the Berserker because we're facing a lot of mages and a lot of god players. And I think the Hex is more important than the extra bit of damage that Berserker can offer you. If you get Lightblade Knight to level 3, she's going to be more than enough damage, as will Hell Knight, so I much prefer going for the Defector. Plus, it means that you can go to level 9 and pick up Storm Shaman and get 2 free Hexes, which means you could shut out 2 units from the enemy team, and then Storm Shaman also gives you that added win condition of beating mages, which is one of the weaknesses of this comp. This comp has 2 major weaknesses, Feathered and God Mages, both of which are very difficult to deal with. Itemization can help you with Feathered, and going to level 9 and getting you a Storm Shaman can help you with Gods. You can also go for a Dark Spirit at level 9 if you think that you need to have extra win versus Feathered. The positioning that you see here on the left, so the right hand side of your screen is just a standard positioning setup for the Glacier Knights. Switch giveaway, as per usual, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and then leave a comment on the video, because the comment is what's going to get you entry into the competition for this month, and then I will draw at the end of September. You can leave whatever you like, comment. Today, what did you have for breakfast, guys? If it's not breakfast, what did you have for dinner? That's what I want to know. You can see I'm just adjusting some volume here. I actually end up joining the game at round 5, so this is going to be a slightly shorter video. This is going to be sub 20 minutes. Because I joined the game at round 5 here. I actually had an excellent early game by all standards. I got a lot of good 2 stars. But you might think, wow, Excoundrel, you got lucky here. Because you can see like I've got a 2-star Heaven Bomber. I have a lot of pairs at my bench as well. You might think, oh, Excoundrel, you got lucky here. Well, actually, everybody high-rolled this game. I've never seen a more high-rolling game in my life. Because I ended up with like 4 or 5 2-stars at level 5. And I was still getting beaten by people. It was just a very high roll lobby in general. You can see I picked up a Hell Knight and a Frost Knight. Now, why did I do that? I looked at the current board and I was like, what does everybody else actually have? And no one was picking up Knights. So in my head, I said, okay, this is a good Knight game, because Knights are usually very good when uncontested, because it means it's easy to get a level 3 Hell Knight and easy to get a level 3 Lightblade Knight. So that's why I was going for Knights this early on, because I was like, well, okay, right, I'm actually finding Knights and no one else is going for them. So that was like an indicator that I really should have kept my eye out for Knights. Other than that, you can see I just picked up a lot of pairs here. So I got a 2-star Abyssal Guard, a 2-star Skybreaker. Like, this is a strong comp, and I have the Goblin bonus. But there are a lot of people who also high-rolled this game. Like a lot of other 2-stars, a lot of really strong synergies being built up already. You know, 2-star Swordman is going to just absolutely tear through my composition, like you can see here. So even though I had a really good comp, there are a lot of people sporting incredibly good compositions in this game. So I end up picking up the 2-star Hell Knight and the 2-star Frost Knight, which basically gives me the idea to go to level 6 and add the Hell Knight and the Frost Knight for the Knight bonus. I picked up Thunder Spirit just in case. I always pick up like core units for compositions if I ever want to switch. Like if I wanted to go, for instance, the Dragon Mage build, the sort of the Dragon Knight Mage build, like I could have used Thunder Spirit as my 3rd mage realistically, so I was just picking up Thunder Spirit just in case. So now that I'm level 6, and I basically got all of the units that I want, there isn't really much I can do to massively improve this composition other than switching into a build that I'm actually going to use for the late game. It's now about just building my economy. Unless I get an insane win streak, I'm not going to be leveling up until I have 50 gold. That's usually my rule of thumb. If I've got a +2 win streak by round 13, and it looks like, while assessing the rest of the field, that I'm going to maintain it, I will level up to level 7. It's always a decision that you need to make. Early leveling up is not just a decision about win streaking, because if someone's upgraded their comp, and you upgrade to level 7 and then they beat you on the next round, you are stuffed. Like, that is your economy down the drain. The reason that you level up when you're win streaking is because you have a +2 or +3 gold income per round, which means you have the equivalent of 20 or 30 gold in the bank anyway, so you can afford to spend a bit more. If you end up spending all your gold and then losing that win streak, you're right back down to 0 economy. Even though you've got the level 7 and a strong composition, you just lost your entire economy, which is obviously a bit of an issue. Now, you might wonder why I'm not picking up a Gali Knight here. A Gali Knight is not a knight of choice for the Glacier Knight combo. You want Hell Knight, you want Lightblade Knight, you want Frost Knight, and you want Evil Knight. So you want those 4 knights. You do not want Argali Knight. It's not that good. The reason that you choose Hell Knight over Argali Knight anyway is that Hell Knight is a bit tankier, but also he gives you the chance to get the Agursis bonus with Soul Reaper at level 8. So Soul Reaper gives you both the Warlock and the Agursis bonus if you're running Hell Knight, which is why we include him. So right now I'm just sort of selling off, sort of collecting pieces for sort of upgrading my core units. I picked up my first Lightblade Knight. I mean, one of the things that really hard shuts this composition down in the early game is the fact that Lightblade Knight can sometimes disappear off the face of the planet and you can just never find her. And you can see it's very good that I didn't bother leveling up to level 7, even though I had a +2 win streak, because I got smashed by a feathered player. The guy Shinobi playing Feathered Hunters, and if he commits to Feathered Hunters, which he looks like he is, I am going to have a real tough time this game, simply because that is a composition that generally beats Glacier Knights. And you'll sort of see that as the game goes on. There isn't much way that you can deal with Feathered if you're playing Glacier Knights, unless you just have a super high roll comp, which I mean like going to level 9 and getting Dark Spirited. I'm talking about level 3 Lightblade, level 3 Hell Knight, level 3 Desperate Doctor. Like, you just need a lot of level 3s to make it work. And the other thing is, you could itemize it with, you can get like, what's it called? I think it's called like Black King Bar? No, it's the one that builds. It's the one that builds out of Fishfork and Wooden Club, and then sort of gets you to that sort of epic item that means your attacks can't be evaded. If you can get that, that's a really good item versus Feathered, because they rely on evading to keep their health total up. Which is why, if you can find that item, it's really strong. So now I start picking up another level 2 Hell Knight, another level 2 Hell Knight, and I'm like, okay, right, this is now a good chance to just sell off some of my mechs, boost my economy up towards 50, and then start getting my actual composition online. You also note that I pick up the Jade Pipe. The reason I pick up Jade Pipe is there is a lot of mage compositions in this game, and the extra magic damage shield is definitely going to help me sustain my HP total. Now, actually removing the goblins at this stage of the game will weaken my composition overall, but it boosts my economy, which is important. Boosting my economy in this scenario is very important. The reason being is I want to get to level 8 by about round 21. If I hadn't sold off my mechs, I would have not had enough gold to get to level 28 and maintained a 50 gold economy. So I want to get to level 8, and as soon as I'm level 8, I'm rolling down to try and find the pieces of my composition. Like, I'm just going to roll all the way down to 0 most of the time over the course of a few rounds to find the core units for my composition, because if you don't find your core units at level 8, you're missing your major power spike. Glacier Knight's power spikes at about round 20 to about round 30, and unless you start getting 3 stars and potentially working towards level 9, you're going to start to fall off versus the likes of God Mages. Like, you have a really big mid-game power spike when you're playing Glacier Knights, so you need to look to abuse that once you hit level 8. You need to look for all of those units that I listed at the start of the video. That is what you're looking for when you hit level 8 when you're Glacier Knight. Obviously, if you're already there, you don't need to roll down. So like, if I was level 21 and I had a 2-star Lightblade, a 2-star Hell Knight, a 2-star Evil Knight, 2-star Frost Knight, a Soul Reaper, and then the majority of my Glacier clan at either 2-star, or if I'm running a Berserker 1-star is fine, I would be okay maintaining my composition at 50 gold and then rolling down when I feel under threat. But because I now am currently lacking most of my Glacier, I don't have a 2-star Lightblade Knight, don't have a 2-star Hell Knight, I don't have a Soul Reaper. Like, I'm not in a position where I can afford to be luxurious with my economy. I need to, after this round, roll down to find those core units, to get my Glacier composition online, find a 2-star Lightblade Knight, and basically work from there. That is the position that I've put myself in this game, because I decided to commit to Knights. Now, this is a game that I wanted to show you, because I wanted to show you, like, I don't high roll every single game. This is just a normal game of me not high rolling, basically. I know that sounds stupid, but it's true. I wanted to show you that, like, I have normal games too, and I have to find ways to try and scrape my way to a top 3 win, because sometimes it's very difficult versus high rolly lobbies. And this was a very high roll lobby. This was not an easy lobby for me to be involved in. So this is just me showing you my decision making to essentially get myself into a position where I'm able to make a convincing top 3 finish. What I'm doing now is rolling and just looking for anything that is going to remotely contribute to my composition. I do actually get the Hell Knight level 3 on the board, which means I end up losing a space on board with a unit. But realistically, that's okay. And now Hell Knight level 3 is going to be able to carry me through these mid rounds, which I was traditionally pretty weak at. I would actually love to have had Soul Breaker by now. Soul Ripper right now, but I just don't have that. He just didn't turn up. And so I don't have the luxury of getting the Agersis bonus on, as well as the Warlock bonus, which is actually, like, he's a core unit to make this composition good. So I probably would have had a much better time versus a lot of these players if I'd actually managed to find myself that particular unit. But unfortunately, I wasn't finding myself that unit, so I had to make do with what I've got. And that means essentially looking desperately to try and 3-star things like my Defector and my Desperate Doctor, and also trying to look to 3-star my Lightblade Knight as much as I can. So what I'm doing here, because I feel pretty comfortable with my composition, I'm actually going to wait and try and build a small amount of economy. Now that economy I can do 2 things with. I can look to go to level 9. It would take 40 gold to get from level 8 to level 9 just off the front of it. If I wait until round 30 or 29, it will take 30 gold. So I could build economy over the next 3 to 4 rounds, and then use that economy to go to level 9 if I wanted to. I don't actually want to do that this game, because I actually have a lot of 3-star potentials. So I'd rather roll for the 3-star potentials, because I think they are more likely to give me a composition boost over just adding in a random Dark Spirit or Storm Shaman, especially because I'm still in the top 7, so there are still 7 people left here and sort of... well, now 6, but I'm still in the top 6, so I can't exactly add a tech unit when I'm facing 5 different people with different compositions every round. So it's much better for me to go for the generalist strategy, which is basically just look for Lightblade Knight, look for my 3-star Defector, look for my 3-star Desperate Doctor. That is essentially the best way for me to deal with this right now. So I actually get absolutely beaten up by assassins. This usually wouldn't happen. Most of the time, Glacier Knight should beat assassins if you are lucky enough with your Knight Shields. I just obviously had a very unlucky Knight Shield experience there. So losing that put me down to 29, which is not, I don't think, like, it's not roll down to 0 danger territory, because I always assess, like, what's the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario when it comes to... essentially playing a round? Like, am I going to lose 29 HP on a round? Probably not. Am I going to lose 10 to 15 HP on a round? Probably yes. 17 HP is kind of in that danger territory. This is why I decided to actually roll down pretty heavily just right now, as you can see. I pick up quite a lot of Lightblade Knights, which puts me 1 Lightblade Knight away from a level 3 Lightblade Knight. Level 3 Lightblade Knight is a massive power increase for this composition, just so you know. Level 3 Lightblade Knight, you cannot overstate how good that is for this composition as a whole. This guy who actually got knocked out ended up beating me because he had a Dark Spirit, so that puts me down to 14. So now I'm at a situation where I definitely cannot afford to do nothing with my rolls every round. I cannot afford to build an economy because there is a Feathered player who I know beats me, there is a God Mage player who I know beats me, and I actually ended up facing the Feathered player directly afterwards. I'm very lucky that I got that Lightblade Knight 3 right now, because without this Lightblade Knight 3, I would not have done anywhere near as well versus this Feathered player. He would have absolutely crushed me. He's still waiting on a Razorclaw 3, he's still waiting on a Shining Assassin 2, so there are still situations right now where I'm going to lose to him, but I would never have beaten him without a Lightblade Knight 3, and I probably would have been knocked out of the game right now, which is why it was sensible to roll when I did for Lightblade Knight 3, because, and obviously get lucky with the rolls, but that's why you roll, right? You don't roll to not get lucky, you roll to hope that you get lucky. So that's why I made the rolls that I did. In this situation anyway. So now we're basically desperately scrapping for a top 3 position right now, as you can see. I'm actually very close to picking up a Defector 3 and a Desperate Doctor 3, which is why I'm going to lock this. I'm also now going to eventually commit to using that Ring of Life on my Hell Knight. You don't actually need to commit Ring of Life that early, because it's not exactly a crazy important item. I usually save it for the off chance that I might want to get an Orb of Refresh, but there's no way that I'm picking up an Orb of Refresh in this game, and I've not got many units that would benefit from an Orb of Refresh apart from maybe the Priest guy, the Fortune Teller. I'm actually putting a bit of magic resist on my Lightblade Knight, because versus the God Mage player, the only two people that I know that are going to survive the majority of the onslaught are going to be Hell Knight and Lightblade Knight. So if I can make my Lightblade Knight more likely to survive, we're in a good spot. You can see here, this is versus the Feathered player. This is one of the direct counters to Glacier Knights, and now that he's got Razor Claw 3, we're actually really struggling. That loss puts us down to 2. So we've got a God Mage player, we've got a Glacier Knight player, or we've got an Assassin player. So we're actually okay. I think we win versus the Assassin 99 times out of 100. I think we go 50-50, no, not even 50-50. I think we go 30-70 with the God Mage player, and we have to get like insanely lucky to beat the Feathered Assassin player. So you can see here that this is the God Mage player again. Very, 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 very luckily. I mean, this was literally me squeezing my bum cheeks together. We end up getting the Lightblade Knight 3 carry because of the itemization that we put on him, and we were very lucky with the Night Shields. And then I'm desperately looking at the guy who's playing Assassins, playing versus the Feathered Hunter player, saying, please win, but unfortunately level 3 Abyssal Crawler is strictly broken, and he actually ends up getting the draw. So now I have another round to have to pray that I get a good matchup, and hope that I come out on top. Which is essentially what I'm looking for here. The best case scenario is me fighting the Assassin player, because I know that's a guaranteed win, and I know that almost 99 times out of 100, V-Fair is going to lose to me, and he's going to lose to the God Mage player. I play him, he plays me. This is a direct swap in terms of playing, and yes, I beat him on my screen, he beats me on his screen. Unfortunately, we're now in a situation where I'm pretty certain we're going to lose. I'm pretty certain that we're going to lose to pretty much anybody that we play against. And that's just unfortunate. Black Dragon King is kind of like, I'm basically looking for a level 3 Desperate Doctor. That might give me a hope in hell versus the Feathered player, because the extended stuns from Desperate Doctor are really good, but it probably won't help me versus the God Mage player. There isn't really any way that I can position to make this any better, realistically. So you can see I actually have the Desperate Doctor locked here for the next round. Unfortunately, I just don't think that I'm going to beat either of these guys on this next round. It's going to be super close. My best case scenario is getting second, because Shinobi gets knocked out by the God Mage player. Unfortunately, I play the God Mage player, who at this point has got a ridiculously strong composition, and I don't beat Shinobi, so I end up getting third. But that was a game that I wanted to show you and talk to you about, because it's not every game that I high roll. I do not high roll every single game. Sometimes I just make a good decision about a build and commit to it, and even though I don't get all of the good units, we fought for third place, and that's why I think Glacier Knight is really consistent, because it generally beats most things, and it's a good top 3 composition. You have to do really well with it to get first place, but you don't really need to aim for first place. We're aiming for third or above every single game, which is why I wanted to show you this game, because it was important to note that you don't need to high roll to win. You can just make good decisions about builds and come out on top with good economy and rolling decisions too.